last about 10 or 15 minutes, and then I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our awesome speaker that we have scheduled tonight. We do have a special going on for PACE being on the webinar. So anybody that's on this webinar tonight, you guys are going to get a free county of any lead source that you choose by Friday. So anybody who signs up for ForeclosuresDaily.com and ProbatesDaily.com between now and Friday, if you purchase a 6-month subscription or a year, you will get a free county. And I know that you guys know that a lot of you know the value of that already, because we have people spending hundreds of dollars to add a county all time. So anybody on this webinar using the code TLC1000, mentioning Pace Morby's name and TANGIE Cousins, you will get a free county for anybody who signs up by Friday. We offer a lot of bonuses too. So just stay till the end, guys. It's really important. Pace is going to be doing this presentation a little bit different than a lot of speakers. And that's what makes him so great. You know, he doesn't ask for anything. He's not sitting here trying to sell anything. He's just going to be dropping bombs and giving you guys free content this whole entire time. So for anybody that's just joining, we ask that you send any questions you have during the entire presentation. And Pace is actually going to be going over Q&A with you. He's not going to be sharing a slideshow or anything like that. He's just going to be giving you free knowledge and doing a little one-on-one with a lot of the people on this call. So you'll be able to actually ask questions. We're going to try to unmute you and have you ask live and have him answer live. So it's just going to be more like interviewing Pace and see how amazing he's done with his business. But before we get started, and before I tell you a little bit more about him, I'm going to go over who we are and what we do here at Foreclosures Daily. Now, I've been with Foreclosures Daily since 2004. I have helped many investors, realtors, and attorneys grow their business, increase their revenues. And for those who don't know me, I'm TANGIE Cousins. I helped start the company, and I've been with them since they opened. I teach people how to use different types of leads that we have to offer. I also teach the do's and don'ts of marketing. My contact information is below. It's TANGIE at ForeclosuresDaily.com. Also, if you're interested in texting me, I do have a cell phone. It's 863-698-3550. But if you take a picture of this video right now, you can have my email address and email me any questions you may have after the webinar. Also, we'll be giving out some instruction on how to follow Pace, because I know that after you guys hear him today, you're definitely going to want to follow him. He's pretty amazing. So Foreclosures Daily, we're a nationwide lead provider. We provide leads to investors, realtors, attorneys, and just your first basic home to first-time home buyers as well. We help a lot of those people buy their first-time properties and stuff like that. So we've been in business since 2004. And since then, we've been the internet's #1 destination for the most detailed, timely, and accurate information. Now, here's how we're different. All of our leads are weekly and fresh, and they have real estate attached. Most of the data that we provide has property appraisers information, such as bedrooms, baths, type of property, basic information about the house, as much as we can find. Most companies that we have found, guys, are quarterly, and they're not farming for real estate. I need you to understand just how important that is. When you deal with a company who's getting, let's say, probate leads or divorce leads, and they're just giving you the people who filed, that's a big problem. Only about 7 to 10% of the people that die and file probate actually own real estate. Most people liquidate their assets before they even pass. You know, mom loses dad, she's in the property by herself, she can't maintain it anymore, so she ends up selling the property before she passes, moves out, and the property ends up going for sale. So when she dies, she has no property to give. So when somebody's giving you a list of, let's say, 300 probates, that's a red flag right there. Typically, there's never going to be 300 probates for people that die with actual physical property. Out of that 300, you're lucky to get 15 to 25 a week, okay? So keep in mind, you don't want to be marketing to 285 extra people for absolutely no reason whatsoever. So it's important that you understand why it's important that our leads are weekly and fresh and farm for real estate. So that's what kind of makes us second to none. Other companies will be quarterly, and they're not typically going to farm for actual property at all. In fact, I haven't found one that does it yet. So here's what we want to have to offer you here. We understand the importance of having fresh data that's farm for actual real estate. And here's some of the leads that we do offer. I'm just going to go over a few of them. We have about 25 different types of leads we can offer you on a nationwide stance. We do things like probates, pre-probates, absentee owners, inheritance, divorce, tax lates, auctions, list pendants, cash buyers, code violations, evictions, and just distressed in general. Now, the top 6 lead sources today that we offer are going to be probate, pre-probate, inheritance, code violation, eviction, and divorce. And let me tell you guys, those are all weekly and fresh, and they're all farm for real estates. But probate and pre-probate by far are some of the best leads you'll ever get. They have a lot of equity. They typically don't mind taking a discount, and they're very motivated to sell. People tend to be older when they lose their parents, 50 and 60, when you're typically not children when you lose your parents. So they usually don't want the property. They usually want to sell the property. Now, because they didn't buy the property, they've got no skin in the game. So they typically don't mind taking a really big discount, which means you guys can usually get these properties at deeply discounted wholesaling prices. Now, when you work things like the 6 lead types that I just mentioned, like probate, pre-probate, inheritance, code violation, eviction, and divorce, you're going to work a small group of people, guys, but you're going to yield a much higher return. Okay. When you work a good quality lead and there's not that many, you're probably going to make a lot more money and get a lot more deals than you do on a massive list. A lot of people are so interested in getting bulk leads out there. I want to buy 10s and 15 to 20,000 leads at 3 cents a pop. Guys, that's no good. Cheap leads are just that. They're cheap leads. When you put time and effort into working cheap leads, you're spending a lot of money chasing your tail around for people who are not even interested in selling. But when you target direct leads like probate and pre-probate, you're targeting people who want to sell their property versus people who don't, So these are just some of the leads that we can offer you. Now, here's some of the things that we do for you. We give you several bonuses for buying leads through us. And this is not something that automatically has to come with the program. It's something that the owner and I have done out of the kindness of our heart. We put together a lot of bonuses for you. It's a toolbox, if you will, a Foreclosures Daily toolbox that we give you for buying leads that's going to help you be more successful at utilizing the list, such as these postcards. We give you access to a link, and when you click on it, it takes you right to this mail house company that offers these postcards that they have designed for just our students or our clients. And you can click on any one of these and they'll only charge 42 cents with postage to send these to you for you. Now, can you imagine, you get a postcard in the mail. Hey, is this your house? Are you selling this? It's a very catchy postcard. A lot of companies out there will charge $1 to $1.10. This company that we recommend only charges 42 cents with postage. And these are our postcards that they designed for you guys, okay, that you can get for deeply discounted rates. So here's a letter, guys, like a nice handwritten letter. They'll actually do this for 64 cents with postage, and they'll use a handwritten font to make it look handwrote for you. Here's some of the bonuses that you're going to receive in the toolbox. You're going to get a 6-step mailing campaign that tells you how often to mail, a 6-touch campaign that tells you how many times to mail and the spacing in between and what to mail, a phone script. You're going to get my phone scripts on how to speak to the person who answers the decedent's phone versus how to speak to the person who answers the family member's phone, a phone script on how to negotiate with the seller on the phone with a question script, an email to send to the attorney expressing interest in the said properties. You're going to get several postcards and letters that we recommend. We actually mail you a probate book. It's called Probate Real Estate Sales 101. And if you have a Kindle, you can actually get it for free. It's called Probate Real Estate Sales 101. And it's wrote by Kevin Sayles. That's Sayles. Now, he actually is the author of the book, and we know him. So we did a webinar with him. So we'll share his webinar replay with you, teaching the 7 ways to make money in probate real estate investing. So not only will you receive the book in the mail within like 1 to 2 weeks after buying the leads, you're also going to get Kevin's webinar teaching the 7 ways to make money in probate real estate investing, as well as my webinar teaching the do's and don'ts of marketing, what to say, what not to say, how often to mail, the spacing in between, and just an 1.5-hour long webinar of me teaching you the do's and don'ts of marketing and unique marketing techniques. So those are just some of the things that you guys are going to get, okay? We provide you with a lot of other companies that will give you deeply discounted rates for just being affiliated with Foreclosures Daily after you buy our leads. Now, so everybody's going to want to know the pricing, right? So here's what's really cool is like I said, the owner's giving away a free county. We usually charge 50% off, as you can see, for every single county you add. And I know there's a lot of customers on here that are going to see this that paid 50% off and bought multiple counties. And I know that by Friday, if you buy or you renew early or you add on extra data, you can get a free county for purchasing leads. Now, this price here is not for all of these leads. It's for each of them. So let's say you want probates for 6 months. You get 6 months probates, it's $999. That means you're going to get new leads every single week for the next 26 weeks, every Wednesday, no more than 25 leads a week. Most counties, like I said, guys, don't have 25 leads a week. So it's less money for marketing for you, less money for skip trading, less money for SMS, ringless voicemail, whatever it is you're doing or what have you. Now, if you want pre-probates, it's going to be another $999. If you want code violations, it's another $999. Now, the free county only comes on 6-month subscriptions and year subscriptions. We would rather not give a free county on a 3-month commitment. Guys, these are Pace's discounts for being on this call today. These prices are usually a lot higher, but if you purchase by Friday, you're going to get the free county on Pace's discounted rates that we have for you today. And this is a special that we're running for having him on this webinar. And for all you guys taking the time to be on this webinar today, anybody who purchases leads by Friday will get a free county. So take a picture of this. This has got my office line, my cell phone if you want to call and text, and also my email. And I'm going to go ahead and like probably 2 minutes, introduce our speaker. But I want to talk a little bit about Pace because Pace is really important to us. We've been trying to get him to speak for quite a long time. It took me a while to find him and get to him, and he's so busy, and I'm so glad he's taken the time out to be on this call today. But Pace Morby is actually a very successful wholesaler and has been since 2004. He actually had a construction company with over 165 employees. So he has a massive amount of business experience. He has over 7,000 renovations in the last 10 years. 300 plus wholesale transactions and 100 plus creative finance deals doing subject to seller financing and so on and so forth. And those are just a few of the things that Pace has. I'm sure he'll tell you about a lot more, but without further ado, guys, I'm going to go ahead and introduce your speaker tonight, Pace Morby. Thanks for being on with us tonight. We really appreciate you
so much. So when I first started, I YouTubed, right? Everybody else YouTubes. And you go, where are the best leads? Where should I go get the best leads? So I watched this YouTube video. This is years ago, right? Before really everybody was Zooming and everybody was doing webinars and all this stuff. So I get this person that says, hey, Rick, good to see you guys. Creighton, oh my gosh, great. Creighton is one of my students. He's unbelievable. Good to see you guys. Guys, by the way, we're going to be answering live questions. So if you're somebody that has challenges in your business, I want to go through those challenges and help you guys understand how my business overcomes those exact types of challenges. So I watched this YouTube video, and the YouTube video says, go down to your county and pull the probates manually. So I go down there. You know, it was hard to find the building in the first place. I go down there, I wait in line, I get the probates, and it's this big stack. There's no digital file. It's a big stack. What we would do is we would manually transcribe that document, and then we would go and skip trace it one by one. And we would spend so much time doing this. It is absolutely crazy what you guys provide with your service, because now you can just absolutely, like, what does the average client choose in terms of counties? Are they doing one county? Are they doing multiple counties?
Are you asking me, Pace?
Yes.
A lot of people do multiple areas and multiple counties, and it depends on their marketing budget. But a lot of people always want to know, you know, should I market in my own backyard? And I always tell everybody, yes, absolutely. But you can also add another county and do virtual wholesaling too.
I love that. So we do probates in our own backyard. It's the best place to start, guys. So probates in your own backyard. Probate, in my experience, is the #1 type of lead source. #1. There's absolutely nothing outside of that. Hey, Chris, good to see you, bro. I was actually just texting you a little bit, Chris. I owe you a response back, but probates are unbelievable. And I feel like you didn't deep dive into how valuable your guys' service is. There's companies. So this is what happened. It's kind of like you've seen those images of the caveman that, like, he evolves into the like man we are today, right? Those images you've seen. Like the Neanderthal version of me was the guy going down into the courthouse pulling everything manually, going down and doing all this stuff. And I thought, man, I'm ahead of the curve. Look how cheap my leads are. Then I find a company. So this is something you touched on a little bit ago. I find a company that provides the probates, but how often were they providing the probates? Once a month or sometimes once a quarter. Then those probates, we would call them, we would text them, etc. What would happen is we would actually get a hold of the seller just to find out they aren't a seller and there's no real estate attached to that probate lead whatsoever. So you jump on this and you talk about real estate attached leads. You guys provide a service like nobody else. And I feel like you don't deep dive enough on that. There's so much stinking value in what you guys are providing, TANGIE.
You know, the thing is, and I don't have a lot of time on these calls, which is why they definitely need to get on my Innovative Investors webinar that I'm going to be doing in May. So I'll be doing a webinar in May just for me for like an hour and a half. I'll be speaking. But if you want to go to www.youtube.com and type in Foreclosures Daily and find the webinar called Innovative Investors Webinar, I do dive more into it there. But just real quick pace, and I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know that you could talk for 9 hours and still go on.
This isn't my time. I want to provide a ton of value to everybody. So
yeah.
Like there's a couple questions in here. It's not my time. I want to hear more. I'm honestly think that people are sleeping on how valuable this is.
Well, to boil it down to the ridiculousness, you go down to the courthouse, right? John Smith dies. It doesn't say if he owns real estate. So then what do you do, right? You can do the next best thing. You go to the property appraiser site, you go to the tax collector site, you type in John Smith. There's going to be 15 John Smiths, depending on how big your county is. Then you got to try to go through all 15 John Smiths to see which one died with real estate. I mean, that's just boiling it down to the ridiculousness. So then you have to find different ways of finding out which John Smith it is. I mean, it's a lot of research. It's long, it's monotonous, and there's tedious. And if there's 30 John Smiths, you're going to be going through 30 John Smiths. If there's 300 people who file probate, try doing that 300 times with 3 different names. That's a full-time job. And if you're doing that and not delegating your minimum wage tasks to other people, then you're not delegating your time into working on revenue generating activities, because that is not a revenue generating activity that will make you money. That's research. If you want to be in the business of researcher, let me know. We'll talk about hiring you.
Yeah. I mean, to people, it's really interesting. I really did have to fight through a lot of friction, right? So when you first start and you don't have these resources, it is so much friction to get the momentum going because you don't have the resource. So you call, right? And then you finally get a hold of a seller just to find out they're not a seller and to find out that they don't even own property and they're going through probate for some other reason. Maybe it's other assets, et cetera. And you're sitting here thinking, I just spent 3 hours to get a hold of one person that wasn't even a viable lead, right? So the friction deflates you and it bursts the bubble. And then you have to remotivate yourself all over again. And so that's a big, big challenge for a lot of people trying to get into this business, is understanding how to get directly to the seller, minimize all these non-money making activities like what you're talking about, and amplify in a smaller amount of time with a small budget. The other thing, here's what's crazy. Your price, and I don't know if it's because of the discount you're giving to everybody, but your price that you're giving to everybody is like half of what I was paying a probate company that was releasing the leads once a quarter and it wasn't real estate attached.
Yeah, and we're cheaper than that, and we provide much more quality.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So I tell people, here's where I would start, right? Here's the top 3 questions you get when you're out being an influencer, which is such a funny thing. People ask, what list should I call, right? What list? And I say, go small, like always, go ultra niche, either foreclosures or probate. Focus on those 2 lists. Don't go anywhere else until you get some momentum in your business. You guys are making it too easy for people to start. Absolutely too easy. Now, for me, I'm not a big fan of direct mail. I did direct mail for 2 years and we spent like $20,000 a month in direct mail. I'm a hyperactive guy. I don't want to wait for calls to come to me, which is what direct mail does. It makes calls come to you, which is amazing, right? So your guys' cost of the direct mail is amazing, but for a personality like me, direct mail doesn't fit. I don't want to sit around and wait for my phone to ring. I want to be ultra proactive. And so we do SMS, we do cold calling. We used to do RVM, but we're not as big a fans of it as we used to be. Things have kind of changed, but cold calling crushes, text messaging crushes. I don't want to skip trace and go after people that don't even own properties, right? I don't want to have to go after non-real estate attached probate leads. And so you guys are saving people money, you're saving people time. And I think it's ridiculous that how easy it has become to actually get into this business. Absolutely crazy. So Guys, we've got a bunch of questions on the side. I will, I'm not a big fan of typing while I'm presenting, but let's jump into Gail Becker says, what is the difference between probate and inheritance? Oh my gosh. How would you say that? What would you say is the biggest difference?
Well, see, they could be asking about our list, or they could be asking about the actual probate or inheritance. So let me explain the best I know how. An inherited list, when we sell an inherited list, why would you want to buy an inherited list when you're already getting, like, let's say a pre-probate or probate? Well, you definitely would want all three, and let me tell you why. An inherited is clearly for a person who inherits a property via a trust and doesn't have to go through probate, right? Because they've inherited it via trust. That's the whole point of the trust. But only a small group of people will actually inherit their property via a trust pace. You know as well as I do, most people don't set that up for their kids because they don't have the money or the knowledge to even know what to do.
The knowledge is the biggest thing, honestly. Like, before, I'm sorry to cut you off, but the knowledge is the biggest thing. So I have a family trust. So I know when all of my rental properties that we own, Airbnbs, group homes, all the stuff that we own, when I pass away, it will be exchanged to my children or my children's children or whatever it is. It goes through a trust. So there's no way that's going through probate. So all of my hundreds of properties will never be on a probate list. So you want to have access to guys like me. We just bought a group of 51 homes from one lady off of an inheritance list. 51 properties, all seller finance, 2% interest, $5,000 per property. Amazing, amazing thing. We would have never been even known they existed if it wasn't for an inheritance list, because most high level investors that, you know, you're at 25, 50, 75 homes or even beyond, you start having lawyers and people in your corner that tell you how to set up your life, right? So you're missing out on the big fish that are going through all of these procedures to avoid probate. So they're never going to be on a probate list, and you're missing out on all of that stuff.
So, well, not only that, just a small group of people will inherit their property via a trust. So here's what we do with our inherited list. Besides giving you just a regular inheritance, we also include, if it's available in your county, a completed probate list on that inherited list. Because to us, if their probate's completed, well, now they've inherited that property, now haven't they? Technically. Right. We also include completed probates, if it's available in your county, on that inherited list, as well as family deed transfers. A property that was transferred from one family member to the other in the amount of $0. So that will also be included on your inherited list. Now, would I use an inherited list over a probate or a pre-probate? I say that I would include it with it. I wouldn't necessarily use the inherited over the probate, and here's why. A probate basically means that they filed probate last week. We verified there's real estate attached, and then we give the lead to you this week. A pre-probate means that they died last week. We verified there's real estate attached, and we give the lead to you this week. The benefit of using a pre-probate is not only are you first to the door, but if they inherit the property via a trust, they will also be on your pre-probate list. So why not get it within a week after the death, right? So then somebody would say, well, then why would I use your pre-probate and your inheritance? Well, because the inheritance also includes family deed transfers if you want to work family deed transfers. But still, probate and pre-probate are both our top two lists that we have to offer.
I love that.
Inheritance along with them, but definitely not other than them.
Okay, so do you limit how many people can have the list in a specific area?
Well, there's no exclusivity on public data. So people.
Okay, I love this. Okay, so let me touch base on this as well, because this is so funny. There's companies out there that talk about, oh, we're going to sell you this zip code, or we're going to sell you this thing.
Only 3 people.
Yeah, and it's like, we're going to limit it to 3 people. And as a business owner, I'm like, okay, how do you scale that? And how do you actually make money, right? So I'm like, whatever, I'll believe you. You guys seem incredibly honest, whatever. Then like a month later, I'm at a real estate investor meetup, and somebody's like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm doing all these probate, or I'm calling all these probates. I'm like, great, where are you getting your list? And they tell me the exact list that I'm paying for exclusivity on, the zip code that I am the only one person I'm supposed. So I'm like, So I reach out to the company. I go, hey, you know, no big deal. Like, I get it. This person could go down to the county courthouse and pull this data as well. But I thought I was getting this list exclusive. They named your name. They named the zip code they're paying for. What is going on? Can I get a discount? And they're like, oh, it was a hiccup in the company. No big deal. We'll fix it. Never fixes it. Next thing you know, I go to another real estate meetup, and we find 5 people calling on the same zip code. So that's how they justified charging you more money for that specific area, right? So I've already mentioned you're half as expensive as these other services. And you're just honest. You're like, there's no way we can give you exclusivity. It's public data. It's just that you're making it incredibly easy. You're narrowing it down. You're niching it down so that you're giving us the cleanest, freshest list. And then you're doing it weekly.
Yeah. And here's the thing. They could call up 3 companies and sign up for the probate leads for the same county they signed up with me today, but they're never going to be any competition for you or me, guys, because they're going to get their list 3 months later. You're getting yours within 1 week scrubbed for actual real estate. So think of all the work they have to do 3 months later, scrubbing 300 people and mailing them, hoping that some of them have real estate. You're actually working just the 15 that have the property that I've narrowed down for you. And not only that, don't worry about exclusivity, guys. Here's the thing. If you're worried about competition, you're in the wrong business, okay?
Right.
And here's another thing. As far as competition is concerned, a lot of people, and no disrespect, and I was very ignorant to probate when I first came to work for this company. A lot of people are very ignorant to probate. It just means that they don't know, you know? So because of that, the competition is very minimal. When you work, let's say foreclosures, you're marketing to hundreds of people. The competition is ridiculous because every new investor out there is told to go after foreclosures. But when you go with probate, you're working a niche list that a lot of people aren't working because they don't understand it. And people's fears of them not understanding a list, they won't work it. So here's what I teach people, Pace, and it makes them feel so much better and in such a better space. They'll say, oh, Tangie, you know, I want to go out and I want to get trained and I want to learn how to do this. Well, you don't need training to learn how to do that. Here's what you need training for. You need training to learn your job, not theirs. Your job is finding the deal, learning how to write a contract, knowing how to go after the seller, knowing what to offer, knowing how to estimate rehab and repair value. Why would you want to spend $5,000 learning how to go after these probate lists, learning how to go through a probate? All you taught yourself at the end of the day is how to go through your own probates when your parents die. You're still at the mercy of the homeowner to find out where they are in the probate process, when they're going back to court, and when they can side the property. So you can use any list in the whole world. You don't need to get trained per list. You need to get trained to have a mentor to teach you the business, to teach you your job. You know what I'm saying?
You know, it's interesting. So I had a phone call today for an hour and a half with somebody I haven't spoken to in 3 years. And the last time I spoke to them, I used to be a Homevestors franchise. Do you know what Homevestors is?
Yes, I know exactly who they are.
Okay, so Homevestors, I was a franchisee. I owned the Phoenix market for a number of years. I was the head of the marketing department. I would fly out to Dallas to corporate headquarters, and I would work with them on all the marketing nationwide. So I understand direct mail, I understand PPC, SEO, all this stuff at a very, very high level. What I learned is I needed to leave Homevestors. Okay, I needed to leave because I needed to sprout my wings, and they're a franchise, which there's good and bad to a franchise. Franchise is like, you only make these Subway sandwich recipes. Don't create your own sandwiches, right? I'm not going to buy a Subway franchise and create my own sandwiches. That's what I was doing. I was doing a lot of creative finance, and that's not something Homevestors is a big fan of because they don't understand it. So I left and I sprouted my wings. This is what happened in this conversation. 3 years later, I get on the phone with this gentleman. And he says, dude, I've watched you just in the last 3 years. You own multiple title companies. You own a virtual assistant business. You're in multiple states. You're doing fix and flips. You're doing this, blah, 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 blah. You're doing 10 times more than what you were doing than when you and I were, shoulder to shoulder. What's your secret? What's your secret? And I said, bro, I'm not trying to do everything. I'm building a real business that doesn't rely on me. I'm building systems and processes. And I'm not trying to be the expert on every individual thing. I'm trying to bring the expert to my table. And so it's the same thing with you. Why would I ever waste my time going through any of that stuff? It hinders me from being, here's the difference. It puts me in a position where I'm in business, but I don't feel like I'm a business owner. I feel like the business owns you when you're trying to know everything, do everything, et cetera, and you get burned out. It's why so many businesses fail in their first couple of years is because you're trying to do everything. And what I love about your guys' company is you make it easy. You make it incredibly easy for people to just get directly to the money-making activity. It's crazy.
Yep.
I love it. So here's a couple of good questions in the side chat, guys. So Jabaris Jordan says, hello, when targeting probates, should you target the wills filed? I actually don't quite understand that question. Do you understand that question?
Yeah, I know what he's asking. So right when the will is filed, but we don't do that, just so you know. We do it during the pre-probate within 1 week after the death. If you do the wills filed, a lot of those people are still going to be living and stuff like that. So, I mean, I would not recommend that. We've actually had people not want those leads on purpose because they don't want to deal with that. It's kind of like the inherited list comes with family deed transfers, if you will. Don't get me wrong, they're great, but you would much rather be better off working pre-probate and probate.
Love that. Okay, cool. So we've got a couple other questions. Guys, if you have any questions about creative finance, wholesale, how to outreach the seller, what's the script, all of those types of things, let's get those questions popping. I'd be happy to jump into those things. So Vic M says, what's the best way to approach marketing when you're first starting and working a full-time job? Is there a way that we can unmute Vic so I can actually have a conversation with Vic?
And this is Vic M, right?
Yeah, right. Vic M.
I got him right here. All right, Vic, you're allowed to talk. I'm going to unmute you. Go ahead.
Hey, Face, how's it going? Yeah.
What's up, Vic? How you doing?
I'm good. I just want to let you know kind of a little bit about me.
Thank you. That's actually why I wanted to unmute you, because it's impossible to actually answer that question without knowing you. So thank you so much.
Yeah. So I work a government job, 7:30 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. And I do direct mail, and I've done the wholesaling Inc. course, and I'm basically mailing either every week or every other week. And I'm starting to see how direct mail is getting expensive. It's only me at the moment, and I'm trying to see if there's other avenues. I know there's SMS, but I'm just trying to see what's the best value of my time to reach out to these sellers.
Okay. So for me personally, you might have other guests of hers that are going to say something different, but you have a pretty good job, right? Obviously you want more. You feel like there's some more juice to squeeze out of the orange that life gave you. And you're sitting here saying, hey, how can I leverage my day job to start building a side business, start it out as a side hustle, and then turn into an actual business that I can ultimately retire from the government, get a pension, and then go off and be a super badass real estate investor, right?
Correct.
So my question is kind of already answered, because now I know you have a budget. If you're spending money on direct mail, you will absolutely destroy your numbers if you actually were doing cold calling. And I don't mean you doing cold calling. I hate cold calling. Okay. Mm-hmm. If anybody is in here, we have 230 people in here. They know I do a lot of seller calls just to show you guys exactly how to do seller calls. Guys, if you've ever watched me do seller calls, throw in a yes, throw up a peace sign, throw up a number one, whatever you want to throw up. I don't care. But let's show how many people have seen me do seller calls, and let me know if those are valuable. Let me tell you something. I love talking to sellers. I love negotiating deals. I love, 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 love doing it. However, I hate cold calling. I will find any other reason to do anything else except for cold calling. Okay. So my point is this: direct mail, when I was a home investor franchise owner, my cost per contract, which is the most important, guys, write this down. Anybody that's paying attention, write this down. The most important KPI in your business, in my professional experience, the most important KPI is, and KPI stands for key performance indicator. It's how you know your business is doing well. So key performance indicator, it is cost per contract. So Vic, let me ask you a question. How much do you think you've spent total in your business, not just in direct mail, but maybe doing a little bit of research or skip tracing or whatever it is, your total cost so far being in business, and how many contracts have you gotten?
I would say around 11K, and I've gotten 2 contracts, close to 30.
Okay. So your cost per contract is $5,500 per contract.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's an important number to know, right? So $5,500 per contract is actually below the national average for direct mail. The national average for direct mail is $6,000 to $7,000. So you're actually below where everybody else is, which is awesome. However, you're waiting for people to call you, and you're hoping that people open their mail, right?
Yeah.
You have to stay ultra consistent. It takes a long time. Sometimes it takes 3, 4, and 5 mailings to the same exact seller before they even give you a call, right?
Yeah.
So the way I would do it for somebody who has a job and actually has a budget is I would look at cold calling, but hiring a virtual assistant. Okay. There's companies like vahub.com. I'm actually a part owner of that company. So there's a self-promotion. I hate promoting, but we built VA Hub specifically for this. And the cost per contract when you're cold calling, especially on a probate or on a pre-foreclosure list, is under $1,000. So for the same marketing expense that you've put into your business so far, you should have about 5 times as many deals. And the cold caller can call all day long while you're at your job. And when you come home, the cold caller will have set up phone calls for you to call that seller 6 o'clock or 6:30 or 7 o'clock at night. So you don't have to stress all day long about, oh my gosh, I sent out direct mail. Now, when the direct mail hits, those phone calls come in. What happens if you miss those calls? It's really hard to get a hold of those sellers ever again. Have you ever experienced that?
Yeah, I have it set up where it just goes straight to voicemail. And if I can get some time, I try to call within half an hour. But obviously, if it's during work time, then I have to call after. And, sometimes they don't pick up.
Love it. So for me, I would look at this as, I am not a big fan of direct mail. I'm so sorry. Some people just love it. And I get why they love it. They love the fact that it's like peace of mind. I don't have to worry about it too much. I can click 15 different buttons, press submit. My mail goes out to this list, and then phone calls come in. I love that. However, oh my gosh, you're competing against OpenDoor, OfferPad, Zillow, Trulia now, like other big REITs and real estate investment trusts are reaching out to these sellers through direct mail as well. The most effective way, cost-effective way, and consistent way to get leads into your business to close is cold calling. And you already have the list, but now you should have somebody calling those sellers and scheduling a time for you to speak with them so they are expecting your call at a very specific time. It sets the tone incredibly differently, which I
definitely highly recommend that they mail and cold call. Those are our top 2 ways to get people to do well and successful with our particular leads.
Here's the thing is the only list I would ever mail on is a super niche list, which would be foreclosure and probate. Most people, what they'll do is they'll go and mail like a high equity list and they'll spend $15,000 and it'll destroy you. So if you're focusing only on probate and foreclosure, absolutely send out the direct mail. Absolutely. So Vic, what list are you currently sending out direct mail to?
I have quite a few. Pre-probate, code violations, and driving for dollars.
Okay, and where have you tracked where those deals came from?
Yeah, one of them. Well, actually, my first one actually came from high equity absentee owner.
Okay,
and the second one was from inherited.
Love it. Okay, so an interesting thing that I found about probate and inherited and all that kind of stuff. Direct mail works incredibly well. Cold calling works incredibly well. These people have so many things going on, right? Especially people that are going through the process. They're dealing with the paperwork. They don't know this. Their attorney's telling them this. They're fighting with their siblings. There's all these things going on. So having a cold caller stay on top of them consistently, you're going to have way more opportunities. So if you haven't implemented a cold caller, I would suggest highly that you do that and don't spend any more money on direct mail than you currently are, but also keep it where you're at. Like, don't turn that off, right? So what's great is that if you are doing direct mail, you can do a cold call and you can say, hey, you might have seen our letter. We've sent it to your home. And that opens up the conversation for your cold caller to actually have a longer conversation with the seller about something unrelated to the house, just saying, oh, have you seen our letter, right? So there's a huge advantage there. Your cost per contract, when you implement cold calling on top of it, is going to be 1/5 of where you currently are right now. And the best part about it is that you can run your business without worrying about it while you're at your job. You know, hey, I get home, I get to relax, maybe grab a bite to eat, take my shoes off, relax for 15, 20 minutes. And then I know I've got 2, maybe 3 appointments set every day to just get on the phone with a seller and get right to business and having a conversation.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's the path to go. And you said VA Hub is one of those options.
Yeah. So there's, you can go to like Upwork.com and you can go to other places. Yeah. The challenge with Upwork is that you're going and finding somebody who doesn't understand wholesale and, subject to and seller finance and those types of things to do cold calling for you. You then have to train them on the scripts. You have to train them on, okay, here, get this software, get this dialer, do this, do that. And you're having to like bring them on as an employee. What VA Hub does, it's very similar to TANGIE's companies and make it very, very simple. They cut through all that stuff and they go, hey, we've got cold callers and people that are willing to text right now that have all the equipment, all the stuff. They're plugged into a training system. They have all the scripts ready to go. You just tell us when to turn it on. That's what VA Hub is all about.
Got it.
So
awesome.
Again, guys, like I get so many people that say, oh, just like I was when I went to get my probate list for the first time, I go down to the courthouse and I'm like, I'm going to save the money. Really? Am I really saving money? People look at VA Hub and they're like, okay, well, you're like $200 more a month than a regular VA. And I'm like, really? But do you have the time to train and manage and, you know, have a customer service manager, like staying on top of them and giving you a report and all that kind of stuff? No, it's going to streamline your business, which is what everybody's wanting to do. Nobody wants to be owned by their business. They want to own their business. So I would suggest take a look at VA Hub. There's a couple other companies like VA Hub. Rocket Station, I think, is the name of the company. They're one of the competitors of VA Hub. They're pretty good. They're a little bit more expensive than VA Hub, but I would not, if you're going to hire a VA, don't go hire one and think you're going to train them and figure out the scripts and all this kind of stuff on your own. Find somebody you can just plug and play and get the leads coming in.
Got it. And you said this is $200 a month, the subscription?
No. Oh, bro, no. The cold call. So the average cold callers, if you go to like Upwork, do you know what Upwork is, Vic?
Yeah, I heard they go for like $4 or $5 an hour.
Right. So $4 to $5 an hour, I would stay away from them. What they're doing, and I've been in the VA business for a long time. The VAs, what they do is they'll come on board with you at $4 or $5 an hour, and then they go and get 3 or 4 other clients that they're like double timing on you, and they're charging you, both of you guys, but they're only working like 2 or 3 hours each. Okay. And so they'll give you 1/3 the results, but they'll charge you a quote unquote discounted price. A good VA should be charging you about $6, $7 an hour. If you understand the exchange rate in the Philippines or in Mexico, nobody can sustain on $4 an hour. They can't support a family on $4 an hour. It's impossible. So what they do is they undercut all their competition by basically having 2 or 3 clients during that same 8-hour period. And all those clients think that they're only working for them. Okay. So stay away from the $4 to $5 an hour ones. Just throw them to the side. It's a scam. The ones that are like $6 or $7 an hour are great. They can sustain and build a family, which is what you want. We only want to hire people that we know I'm paying them a wage that they can support a family. Otherwise, I don't want them on my team. I want to know that I'm providing good jobs and helping people build their families, right?
Yeah.
Then there's above that is VA Hub that are managed, trained, on board with the systems, with the processes. And they're like an extra $200 a month. So like another $1.50 an hour or so above that. So for me, I see so many people go, my VA is not generating leads. I'm like, where'd you get them? Upwork. Okay. Who trained them? Well, I did. Well, what are you training a VA to cold call for? Do you like cold calling? No, I hate cold calling. Okay. Then why are you training them? Go find them from a company that has already trained them, onboarded them, and is all dialed in. So VA Hub, you can have a full-time employee cold calling for you for 1/5 the cost of a full-time American employee. It's crazy.
Do you have a code or anything that they can use, Pace?
No, unfortunately, it's like such a popular service. There's no discount code there. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay.
So, yeah, VA Hub is a smart way to go. Again, just to avoid self-promotion, there are other good companies like Rocket Station. I think they're like $1,300 a month for one VA. So they're rather expensive. But that's the route you really want to go, is go with somebody that's a professional, right? If I'm trying to avoid going to prison, I'm not going to go to an attorney who's a cheap attorney. I want to go find the person that's a professional, save my time and energy and all that kind of stuff. If I'm trying to get out of a speeding ticket or whatever else. I don't really have any experience with that, but that's a good analogy. So the cold calling while you're at work and having them set up an appointment for when you get home from work so that you're only talking to warm sellers is the way to go.
Got it. All right. Thank you so much, Pace.
Guys, did anybody else get value from that? I know like maybe some of this might seem rudimentary or basic to some of the people that are in here. Like I've got Joey Strange, Creighton. I've got a lot of my students and people that have been part of my community for a good amount of time. They've heard all of this stuff. So for you guys, maybe it's not tremendous information, but what about the people that might have heard this for the first time? Was that helpful and beneficial to you? I know a lot of people that teach you, they go out there and learn how to cold call. Don't be afraid to cold call. Oh my gosh, I couldn't disagree anymore. And some of these are like some of my best friends. You'll see them on YouTube. They're incredibly intelligent guys, but I disagree with them. I don't think you should ever cold call if it's not something that gives you energy and it like you have to justify and like put it on your calendar and time block and motivate yourself to do something. Don't do it. Either hire somebody out to do it that's way better at it, or learn how to love it. And my thing is I could never learn how to love cold calling. I felt like I was wasting all this time between all these calls that I wasn't getting a hold of anybody. And even with the best of the best data, you'll go sometimes 20, 30 minutes without actually getting a hold of somebody. And that can really wear on my personality. I want to be talking all the time. So for me, I just want to handle warm leads, and I prefer somebody else to bring those warm leads to me. So that's why direct mail is amazing. It's why everybody loves direct mails, because the call comes to you, which is amazing. And then with cold calling, if you set it up properly with somebody that's trained, that person can set up a follow-up call for you.
Yeah, and not only that, there's some people that you're never going to be able to get on the phone, but all of a sudden they get your mail, and vice versa. There's going to be several people you can't get to answer your mail, but will answer your phone. So when you double your efforts, of course, you're going to double your chances of getting the deals. You know, anytime you limit your capabilities of reaching your seller, you guys are kind of hurting yourself. So you want to try to reach out to them in many ways as you can. And Pace is right. You know, calling is the best way to go. It's the cheapest way to go. It's quick. It's easy. It's getting your phone to ring ASAP. But you should definitely follow that up with a mail or vice versa. But you should be doing both for sure.
I can tell you the lead of a direct mail lead is amazing because they're calling you, right? It's a different quality of a lead. I'm not a big fan of direct mail to like high equity and all these other things. It's like, just focus on the ones you know have pain. And somebody who just went through a probate or inherited a property, they might not even want, one of the best deals I ever got was a gentleman passes away. He passes his estate on to his nephew. The nephew goes to Penn State and the house is in Arizona. So Pennsylvania, Arizona. And the guy literally, he calls off of our direct mail. He goes, I want to have nothing to do with this house. Give me a number. And I go, what number would get you excited? He tells me a number like 40 grand below what I would have even offered him. And I was like, done. We ended up getting 2 cars, guns, all sorts of things inside the property. Probates are the best.
They are, aren't they?
The best. It's like half my staff drives cars that we got through probate stuff. So probates are absolutely amazing. I love them. And again, going back to, the service that we were just talking about with Probates Daily, guys, it's crazy how much better it is nowadays than what it was 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago when I was starting out. So Alicia Stewart says, do you have to train these VAs, or would the VAs have knowledge of how the wholesaling business works? What conversation to have with the seller? So Alicia, this goes back to what I was just talking about with Vic, is that I don't ever want to have to manage employees. It's the worst part of a business, being a business owner, because I don't wake up and have somebody telling me what to do. Okay, I'm a business owner. I have to figure out what I'm supposed to do on a daily basis myself, either A, by having mentors, B, by being around people that are doing it as well, C, being part of masterminds, research is D, all that kind of stuff. So employees are not like that. They literally are like, tell me what to do and I will do it. And there's really good ones. And then there's, the majority of them are not so great, just like the majority of everything in life. Most people don't want to do the work.
You want me to unmute her, Pace?
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah. That'd be great. Alicia, I'd love to talk to you.
Okay, Alicia, we're unmuting you.
Okay. Hi.
Hi. So you don't want to hire and train a VA, right?
No, absolutely not. Honestly, I was looking for, sorry for the noise.
Okay.
I was honestly looking for one, but I couldn't figure out, all the companies that I did call, they were saying you have to train the person and you need to give them what you want them to say. So that's why I asked that question, because I'm like, okay, I don't mind the cold calling. I honestly don't, but I don't want to, I don't know how to train somebody to say this. And if they say this, then say this. This is how you respond to an objection. So that's why I was asking that question.
It's a really good question. Let me show you something really, really quick. Okay. So, Tangie, can I share my screen?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me stop my share and go ahead whenever you're ready, dear.
Cool. So let's check this out. I've got a software, a piece of software that's called Slack. Okay. This is where all my deals come from. You can see here, my team got a deal yesterday in Indianapolis, which we just jumped into Indianapolis. We got a deal in Atlanta, Cochise in Phoenix. The day before that, we got 3 contracts. The day before that, we got 2 contracts. Like, look at my team cranking out deals. Okay. How many deals have I done since the beginning of the month? Well, we started this like January 5th. So we had a couple before that. So let's say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I've got 11 deals and I'm 12 days through the month. Okay. And that kind of matches up. This is called our conveyor belt, right? So all of our houses go on our conveyor belt, and then we, decide what to do with them as they pass down our conveyor belt. So look at the addresses. You guys will see that I end up buying them, and my team all communicates through this app, which is amazing. This is how my team works our deals. Where do these deals come from? Is this my team actually closing these deals? The answer is no. What's actually happening in my business, which is really cool, is I have a virtual assistant cold call. I then have trained virtual assistants to close the deal. So they're the ones that do the follow-up. We got, in the last week, we did 6 contracts. 5 of those were virtual assistants start to finish. No American involved whatsoever. So think about that. If I have a 9-to-5 job and I don't have the time to cold call and I don't have the time to follow up, and honestly, when I get home, I want to hang out with my kids and I want to hang out with my wife and I want to make more babies with my wife, whatever activity is that you're doing. I'm in the baby making phase of my life. So you guys will hear that joke all the time. So I don't want to get home and do those calls. So what we've done at VA Hub is that we actually set it up with 3 different types of VAs. You have an outreach VA, which is a cold caller or a texter. You then have a lead manager that's doing the follow-up. Hey, Mrs. Seller, 2 weeks ago, you said to give you a call. 3 weeks later, thought I'd check in on you. How close are you, to making a decision? Oh, give me 3 more weeks. Great. We'll follow up with you, right? So you have somebody who's just constantly following up. And then you have a third VA that we basically call the closer. That VA calls in and gets the deal done when the seller says, okay, I'm ready to make a decision. Let's talk numbers. That entire process happens without an American whatsoever. And that's how we do 30 deals a month. I'm on track right now. I'm at 11 contracts for the month. I'm 12 days through the year, or 12 days through the month. So most people are like, how do I get 1 contract? How do I get 3 contracts? How do I get 5 contracts? That's how you do it. You automate a process. You automate a business that doesn't need you involved. And the only way to do that, in my opinion and my experience, is through having virtual assistants who actually understand this business. So to answer your question, Alicia, if I were you, it doesn't sound like you really want to go out and cold call, right?
No, not necessarily, because I'm trying to scale my business up. So
right.
Not necessarily, no.
So do you want to be the one that's always doing the follow-up and also doing the closing, or would you rather just manage the business?
I would just rather manage. And to that question, I'm piggybacking off of that question or the comment that you said. So, I mean, I'm sure you probably provide your own funds, but as far as a buyer, can you tell me about how to even find a buyer if the process is going that quick?
Oh my gosh, finding a buyer is incredibly easy. Can I tell you who's a buyer? Me. I'm a buyer, right? So my business is 3 different parts. I do wholesale. So whatever I don't want to fix and flip, I wholesale. Okay. Who do I wholesale to? Pretty simple. I pull up tax records. I find who's closed recently in the last 60, 90 days. In fact, I could go through and show you exactly how to find buyers in like 2 minutes. Okay. If you want to do that, in fact, I don't know if the audience can like see each other and like squat up with each other, but I usually on these webinars, I encourage you to team up with some of my students. Like I've got Creighton, I've got amazing people in here. Like Joey Strange is in here. Amazing students of mine that know how to find buyers or can help you go down that road. Finding the buyer is an incredibly easy thing. In fact, I was on the phone today with my partner, Cody, and I was like, man, we need more fix and flips, right? That's what buyers do, right? Buyers are fix and flippers, or they are buy and holders. You don't have to beg a buyer to buy a deal from you. You just have to simply find out who's really closing deals by looking up tax records. It's very simple. I think people usually overcomplicate it, to be honest. But Alicia, here's what I would do. I would go find a seller. That's the first step. Go find the seller. And then I have about 1,500 students nationwide, and I would tap into my students on my free creative finance Facebook group and go, I need help. Who can help me? You don't have to join my program. You don't have to do any of that. Just work with one of my students. They will absolutely help you go through any process that you need. They're all trained to be go-givers and leaders and just be absolute game changers in this industry. I would say, help me find a buyer. Show me the process. Let's do a Zoom, and one of my students will actually walk you through it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
So guys, for Alicia, the question, here's what I would do. I have a pretty good sized Facebook group. We have about 18,000 members in my Creative Finance with Pace Morby Facebook group. What I do is I train my students to help everybody that comes into that Facebook group with whatever they need, generating leads, whether it's pulling a buyer's list, whether it's calling a seller. There's a lot of times people go, oh my gosh, I'm deathly afraid of calling a seller. I don't know what to do. Get one of my students that do a great job with it. Reach out in the Facebook group and say, hey, my name is Alicia Stewart. Alicia, what city are you in?
I'm in LA, Los Angeles.
Oh my gosh. I have over 100 students in LA. Amazing, amazing students. Rudy and Scott Oots. Oh my gosh, Scott Oots is one of my students. He's also a personal friend of mine. He's in the Riverside area, but they do primarily LA. He would love to help you locally. Like, you don't just even need help on a Facebook group. Sometimes it's nice just to get some geographical location, like some really close people to your geographical location to help you out, because this business, in my opinion, is a monkey see, monkey do type of business. It's like, you could read 1,000 things. You could watch 1,000 YouTube videos, but if somebody's not actually walking you through the process, it can be challenging. I'm an idiot. If you tell me how to do something, I won't be able to do it. But if you show me how to do it, I will. And so I would find somebody either A, in my Creative Finance Facebook group, or B, I would reach out to my students in your local area, again, through the Creative Finance Facebook group, and go to Starbucks with them. They'll hang out with you. They're all trained to be go-givers.
Awesome. Now I have one really quick question and then I'm done.
Yep. Alicia, you're cutting out. I missed the first part.
Would you ever use like the MLS or anything like that to let of the wholesaling side?
You cut out a little bit. So you said MLS.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
So you cut out a little bit.
I was asking, would you ever use the MLS at any time to like leverage the wholesaling business for that matter?
Okay, so I do marketing in 5 different markets. Okay, so we're in Arizona, which is where I accumulate most of my portfolio for subject to and seller finance deals. So I doubt we're going to get into too much creative finance stuff today, but I'd be happy to do another Zoom with you guys another day, or have TANGIE come into one of my groups and do some more creative finance stuff, especially with foreclosures. Like last year, October, November, December, before COVID, we bought 18, 17, and 16 sub-2s all through the foreclosures. 3 months back to back to back. We accumulated like 45 rentals in 3 months. So I love creative finance. We can talk all about that. But
yeah, and we do foreclosures in Florida daily in Florida. Paige.
Love that. So here's the thing. I'm in Florida. I'm in Arizona, where I primarily fix and flip, and I primarily accumulate my portfolio. We're in Atlanta and Texas, and we just jumped into Fort Wayne, Indiana. Okay, why do I say that? Well, because I'm licensed. I'm not me. I would never get my license personally because my wife is licensed and my business partner are licensed. But the other 4 markets outside of Arizona, we don't have a license. I can tell you, using the MLS is a slight advantage only when we're pulling up rent rates for our portfolio. But primarily, it's so easy just to use free resources. There's 1,000 different places to pull comps. I would forget about the MLS being one of the main things you need to get into this business. The MLS overcomplicates things. I promise you that.
Okay, thank you.
A lot of people do that. And it's like, they're just creating barriers for their success in front of them. Like, oh, I don't have MLS access. Well, It's 2021. You really don't need MLS access. I can tell you the only thing we ever really need MLS access for is if I'm going to buy a subject to or a seller finance home and I'm going to keep that long term, I want to absolutely know that I'm not guessing on my rent rate. But when I'm doing wholesale, I really don't need that level of clarification. It's usually within $1,000 or $2,000. The best MLS, I'm going to tell you, Alicia, the best MLS that you could ever have access to is a real credible cash buyer. Why do I say that? It's because if you called me and you were doing marketing in Arizona and you said, hey, Pace, I've got this property on 123 Main Street. What would you pay for it? I'm going to give you a real number I'm going to commit to, and I will put earnest money down on that number so that you can then go to the seller and negotiate based on that number, knowing, hey, Pace gave me a number of 100. So if I can get this locked up at 80, I can make $20,000. That for us, even at our level, doing 25 to 35 deals a month, we still ask every one of our cash buyers before we lock up a deal. We'll say, hey, are you good to go at this number before we lock up a contract? The MLS is not going to help you as much as a real cash buyer. And by the way, here's something else I want you guys to know. If you are still hanging out with people, this is going to be me and my soapbox. I'm so sorry. If you are hanging out with people in high school or from your high school and your college and all that kind of stuff, and they're not in real estate, stop it. Don't go to, I don't go to dinner. I don't socialize. I don't go to parties. I don't go to any of that stuff unless it's other real estate investors. Every single person I socialize with, every person I text, every person I have a personal relationship with is a real estate investor. Okay. Not just a wholesaler, but cash buyers, hard money lenders. These are the people that should be your friends. So you should slowly phase out the people that are not making you money in your life and bring in people that can. Cash buyers, Alicia, I can tell you in LA, a guy like Scott Oots, who also does fix and flip, would die to know Alicia Stewart. All cash buyers like me want to know more Alicia Stewarts that are like, how do I find a buyer? And I'm like, right here, call me. I'm all over the place. I want to buy deals. Please send me your deals. I'm not going to co-wholesale them. I will truly close on them. I will fix and flip them. And I even show people the entire process of the fix and flip if they sell it to me. Come over to the house, like walk through with my construction crew, watch how we do the deal. I'm like one of those flippers that wants you to truly understand how simple and easy this business really can be. The number one thing that hurts people getting into this business is overthinking.
I love it. Thank you. I love it. Love it. Love it.
Whatever you need help with, my students can help you in the free Creative Finance Facebook group. There's no upsells. There's no monthly anything. It is truly the community that I wish existed 10 years ago in real estate, where you're like, where can I go to learn real estate? Where can I go to learn creative finance? Where can I go to learn, and be around other people that are like-minded and, they have a job or they have kids and they want more for themselves. It didn't exist 10 years ago, but here we are. Now we have a massive community where everybody's trained to help each other by leveraging resources. And you will be blown away by the warm welcome you'll get in that Creative Finance Facebook group. Anyway, Alicia, great question. Really, really good question. Oh my gosh, this is great. Louis Benitez says, Pace, I'm a newer sub-2 student. Awesome. I'm looking to scale quickly. I have $8,000 to invest in my business and sounds like hiring a VA and pulling lists with TANGIE is a must. 1,000%.
I'm unmuting him, just so you know. I'm unmuting you, Louis.
Louis, what up?
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Hi.
Yes, really, really well.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I'm looking to scale quickly.
Bro, I'm in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Let's go.
Yeah, I know Matt spoken to one of my partners, Seth Dawson. He had a few questions about the market. But yeah, it sounds like hiring a VA is a must and pulling lists through you guys.
We've only been in Fort Wayne, Indiana for about 3 or 4 weeks, maybe. We've locked up. We got one deal there. Our first week, we made $60,000 assignment on it. Full virtual assistant, no American.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
No cold caller, no follow-up from an American, and the close, like converting the seller to a contract, all was with a Filipino from VA Hub.
Yeah, it's been one of those things where I've been like kind of scared to pull the trigger, but it sounds like I need to do it. I just need to get over my fear.
Here's what I would do. If you've got $8,000 to invest, I would get a cold caller, one, and I would pull a list with TANGIE, and I would start getting leads coming in. And then in the mentorship, I'm sure you saw the schedule. Like I'm doing 25 hours of Zooms this week. Like you'll have plenty of help in the Sub 2 Facebook group. People are incredibly amazing in that group.
I just joined and there's so much.
I can't hear you. I think your thumb is over your speaker or something.
Sorry, my microphone's kind of messed up. Can you hear me better?
Yeah, I can hear you great.
Yeah, it's overwhelming, the value that you guys provide. There's so much, like so many Zoom calls and so much support from everyone. It's been life-changing, I guess I could put it that way.
Thank you, brother. My goal with sub2.com was to I hear, and I'm the same way. I paid 47 grand one time for a creative finance coaching program like years ago. And within 3 months, I realized I knew more than the guy that was teaching me. And I just felt completely taken advantage of. And I said, I'm never going to put people in that situation. In fact, if I'm going to make people angry with my mentorship, it's going to be for one reason. And it's going to be that I deliver way too much content they can't keep up. I want you to have so much information readily available to you at a high level. Like this week alone, you saw the schedule. I've got Scott Oots, my personal attorney is coming in. You've got my CPA came in last week. My insurance provider is coming in this week to talk about how to transfer subject to insurance. Like, bro, this week alone is like a $25,000 masterclass in high level conversation. So thank you for saying that. Yeah,
thanks, Pace.
Of course, brother. So don't blow your whole budget. Don't spend that $8 grand. $8 grand is not what you have to spend. $2 grand is what you have to spend. And let's just start with $2 grand and see what we can do to keep that replenished. And if you need help in Fort Wayne, Indiana, I'll tie you in with Matt as well. So we can like collaborate with each other in that market.
Okay. Awesome. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. Thank you so much.
Peace.
Sorry guys, this has turned into like a virtual assistant Zoom, but that's what happens. Whatever people need, that's what I'm here to deliver for. Jean, such a sweetheart. She says, Pace Creative Finance or our program Sub 2. So again, look what Jean says. She says, our program. I tell people this isn't my mentorship. It's our mentorship. Whatever everybody needs, it's our job to bring it together as a group. So if you need help, yes, go to the Creative Finance Facebook group and just say, I'm new. I don't know a lot. I need help. Take me by the hand and my students will jump in and help you. Okay. Ooh, yeah. So David says that 3 VA advice was the secret sauce. Thank you, David. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I don't know, guys, if you're a Sub 2 student, throw your email in here or, your contact information. If people need help, just free value, have them reach out to you and you guys can help them all out. We're just all about building an amazing community. And there are no secrets in this business, right? There are no secrets. We just need to give everybody access to all the same information so we can grow together. So Betty says, I'm so sorry, but I had another meeting to go to. Is this recorded?
Yes, it is. It will be recorded, and anybody that attends this meeting will actually email them a replay afterwards. Actually, it'll also be available on YouTube, Foreclosures Daily YouTube.
Love it. Okay, so Naomi, sweet student of mine in Northern California says, I have missed this in the very beginning, or I may have missed this in the very beginning. Can I ask how many probates do you get a week? Are they skip trace? So Naomi, I'm going to answer the first part. The answer is, who knows how many probates you get on a weekly basis, because it depends on the county and the size of the county, et cetera. I imagine, right, Tangie?
Yes, and it does depend. You're never going to get more than 25 leads a week for the price that I quoted you, which is on the screen right now, because we have to have a cap pace. Otherwise, we'd have no idea what to charge, right? Because I think we can agree that everybody's dying to get on this list. Sorry. I'm just kidding. It's just a little fun humor there.
Oh, that's good. I didn't pick up on that, but I like it.
I know, right? So all kidding aside, there's usually not more than 25 anyways, unless you're in a massive county. And if you are in a county that produces more than 25 leads a week, such as Pinellas County, Florida, we'll actually get the extras for you at a discounted rate and charge you the price as a half county. So basically, if you're never going to get more than 25 leads a week, and most counties don't even have 25 a week. As I stated earlier, when you work this list, you're going to work a small group of people, but you're going to yield a much bigger return. Okay, so no more than 25 a week per county, per service. Okay, if you pick a county that has more, you can absolutely purchase the extras at a discounted rate. But even the counties that do have more are never massive amounts. Like Harris County, Texas may have 75 to 100 a week. That's the only county we do in most of the entire United States that actually has 75 to 100. All the other counties are below 25 or 25 to 50. So.
Love it. So Leonard Pineda says, I'm a sub-2 student in Los Angeles. So anybody that's in Los Angeles, guys, look at my students throwing up their emails in the side chat. If you guys want to see them help you in any facet of their business, I teach my students lead generation, conversations with sellers, conversion, raising private capital, structuring deals, paperwork that you like, so much paperwork you wouldn't even believe. I actually own a transaction coordinating business that we do transaction coordinating nationwide. I don't think there's many people that understand paperwork as far as wholesale, creative finance, all that kind of stuff is concerned than us. So my students are trained all this stuff. They have access to my transaction coordinator. They have access to my attorneys, everything. So again, work with my students. They will help you for free. I think what will end up happening is you'll want to do deals with them and you guys make money together, which is the benefit for the student, is if they can help you transform your business and get some traction, there's something in it for you, for them, right? You guys start doing deals together. Maybe you do some fix and flips together. Maybe you guys go and build Airbnb portfolios together. Who knows? But namely, that's a really good question. So she then asks, Tangie, are they skip traced?
Okay, so basically, no, you'd have to pay to skip trace them, but we do provide you with a company that does skip tracing at a discounted rate. And I'm sure, Pace, you know, you have in your program, I'm sure that you offer some sort of company that does skip tracing for a discounted rate as well. I know that you work very closely with a lot of people who do the cold calling and they're very good at it. And I'm sure they have somebody, but when you buy
who do you send people to?
Well, there's several companies out there, but Lead Sherpa is a pretty good company. And you know what's really good about them is I actually have a client in here, Chris, and he's not getting PR's information because a lot of the probates don't have PR information, and a lot of them do. But when you endure a county that doesn't, you treat it just like a pre-probate, which means you're just going to get the decedent's name and address. So who do you call, right? A lot of people are conflicted with that. What you do is you skip trace with, like, let's say Lead Sherpa or IDI Data or some of those companies out there for 15 cents, and they'll give you the decedent's phone number, but for free, they'll give you the surrounding family members' phone numbers in the area as well at no additional charge. And that works really good because somebody's typically answering the decedent's phone. Most of these days have family plans, and it's cheaper to have a family plan. So after a loved one passes, sometimes we just keep the phone or give it to somebody else in the family or whatever. So typically a week after somebody dies, somebody's usually still going to answer the phone. And having the surrounding family members' phone numbers in the area too, when you pay a skip tracing service, definitely helps you reach out to them and get a hold of somebody in the family.
Love that. So really good questions in here, guys. I love all of these questions. Here's a couple more. Ronaldo Ruiz says, I had an issue that had to be taken care of. Can you provide the replay from this session? So where can they find the replay again?
YouTube. Well, first of all, if you were registered on here, you're going to get an email with a copy of the replay. Also, tomorrow it should be available on YouTube as well.
Love it. Okay. So he then says he didn't get to hear from the beginning, and he would like to get a script to the personal representative and the attorney's email letter and best approach. Do you guys supply something like that?
It was in his bonuses when he bought the leads, or if he buys the leads, it will be in his bonuses.
That's epic.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Everybody needs that. That's absolutely huge. So guys, for us, what's amazing is that this business actually takes a life of its own, because what happens is when you start working with the probate attorneys, like I have a probate attorney named Ryan Hodges. Okay. And we reached out to the client through, marketing efforts. We end up finding the attorney that was handling the probate, and we ended up having to do some transaction coordinator stuff with that attorney. The attorney then came back to us and was like, man, we love the way you guys handled this transaction. Can we refer business to you in the future? So don't forget that these probate attorneys are one of the main ways for you to build a long-term sustainable business that don't need as much marketing, because they'll start referring clients to you as they get new probates because you're good at your job, right? Now, yeah, this is great. We got a lot of students in here willing to help out, guys. So thank you so much. All my students that are jumping in here and just willing to help everybody that's new. Guys, we've got over
thanks on every one of them. That way it shows up in everybody's chat so you can see their email.
Oh, love it. Thank you so much for doing that. So guys, here's the thing. It is hard to start a business, any business. I don't care what it is. It's really hard to start a business. And I can tell you there's not one business I've been a part of that has been so amazing in terms of a culture and a community as real estate. For some reason, when I was a contractor, I would then go ask other contractors how they did this or how they did that, or, hey, can you share a resource? Oh my gosh, it's like Fort Knox. They don't want to share the information. They don't want to help whatsoever. And you're sitting there feeling like everybody's backstabbing each other. But in real estate, it's magical. There's something cool about building a community that all builds each other up. Okay. So tap into each other. It's one of the most important reasons why you should even show up to these. We have at one point we had 250 people watching live. And now as we're, tying this thing up in the next like 10 minutes or so, you got people that are, jumping off and doing other meetings and whatnot. But we have 195 people on here right now. When people say, I need help, or where should I go? There's a community of people who have paid good money to be part of not only my mentorship program, but other, like you've had Brent Daniels on here, Tangie, right?
Oh yeah. And Tom Kroll and yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's amazing students right here in the chat that have gone through those programs. If you're not somebody that's gone through a mentorship program, tie into somebody who has, because they have access to resources that you won't have yet. And they'll help you along the way. You want to do deals with people. It makes this business more fun. One thing that I would say, looking back at when I first started, I felt like I was an island. I felt like I realized it wasn't even me. It was that I just wasn't asking for help. I assumed it was like every other business I'd been in, that when I asked for help, somebody would slap me on the wrist. This business is not like that. It is information overload. Find the people that are willing to help you. And there's a ton of them in here. So thank you for letting everybody have access to each other's emails, Tangie. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Creighton Bertrand says, where in Jacksonville, Florida, William? We've got a lot of students in Jacksonville. I've got one really amazing. She has 40 houses under contract. Her name is April Giuliano. You definitely need to reach out. So Philip Warwick says, Pace, what's a good SMS text script? Better yet, how fast can I have a VA set up in cold calling and texting? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you guys an email that you guys can send a message to, and I will give you all of my scripts for cold calling and texting. That email is Matt Beard. Let's see. Matt Beard is my partner at VA Hub. Let me type that out and I'll share it with you guys on my little screen here.
I also unmuted Philip. Hi, Philip.
Hey,
Hi,
Philip.
how's it going?
What up, bro?
What up?
Are you doing outreach right now? Or are you looking to start doing outreach to sellers?
Yes, I already have the probate list, and I'm doing mailings right now.
Love it. So again, like you've got this list. One thing I can tell you that's interesting about this, and you'll probably relate to this, you'll understand exactly what we're talking about, is that I don't answer direct mail. In fact, here's how my life is set up with mail. It goes to a PO box. I pay my PO box $10 a month to sift through everything that's not pertinent and throw it away, even magazines. So like my wife doesn't get like Restoration Hardware and, get the idea to buy $1,000 mirror and all that kind of stuff. Any magazine that comes into my mailbox gets thrown away. Okay.
Okay.
Direct mail. Like think about how many houses I own. How many times do you think I get direct mail? I have not seen anybody's direct mail in years. There's a lot of sellers that just simply don't look at direct mail, which is why cold calling is a good way to accompany with direct mail. Now, it's the exact opposite. I'm also a guy that's kind of crazy. you can't get if you are not programmed in my phone will not ring with your number. It will just go directly to voicemail. Okay. So there's guys that are like me on the cold calling side, and there's guys that are like me on the direct mail side. So you got a double team. And if you've got this list you're spending money on, you've really got to get your cold calling or your texting down so that you're leveraging that list as much as possible.
Yeah. And that's what I'm finding is that even the sellers that I do end up at their house, they're already dealing with 5 of us.
Oh, 1000%. So it's all speed to market, right? So I actually gave you Matt's information. I'm actually going to type it up here as well.
What is it?
It's Matt Beard at azexceptionalhomes.com. I'm actually going to throw it on the screen. Give me just 1 second and give you guys that so you can write that down. What I want you to do is I want you guys to all blow him up. Okay. I want you guys all, he also runs VA Hub. So I want you to actually send him a message and say, hey, Matt would like to talk about coming on board at VA Hub. There's his email right there. Let me see if I can zoom in on it. So guys, look at the screen right now. Matt Beard at azexceptionalhomes.com. Blow him up. Like send him a message and just say, hey, Matt, I was watching a Zoom with Pace today. He said you'd give us text scripts, cold calling scripts. And by the way, how do I get a VA? He'll get you set up. Okay. We have incredibly happy clients. Is anybody in here that has a VA from VA Hub that's happy? I would love to see somebody say yay. And Tangie, can they see each other's comments or only if you reply to them?
Only if I type something on it, I do believe. So what I'm doing is I'm typing the word thanks by everybody's email. And if there's something you want, anybody types in that they want to see. Once I answer the question, they also see it then.
Love it. So guys, vahub.com is the name of the company. So go take a look at it. There's testimonials. There's happy people all over the place. I would reach out to Matt and say, Matt, I want the script. I want the texting. But my feeling is this. Why would I need a script for texting? And why would I need a script for cold calling if I was just going to have somebody else do it for me? Right? It's like when I was a contractor, check this out.
Okay.
I was a contractor for a long time and I had a business coach and I was wondering, why wasn't I growing? Why wasn't I growing? Why wasn't I growing? I was at this plateau and I was paying this business coach $500 every time I sat down with him for 1 hour a month, $500 an hour. And there were a lot of things he did for me. He forced me to hire an assistant, which at the time I was just like, I don't want to spend money. He's like, dude, you're making 75 grand a month. Hire an assistant at $3,000 a month. Get it done. So I don't hire an assistant. The CRM that I suggest, Gail, is we use bombcrm.com. And I'll put that on the website right there. So he says, hire an assistant. I go, great, I'll do it. And I don't do it. So John Bohm, my business coach, comes to me the next following month. He says, Pace, this will be our last meeting together. And I was like, what? Oh my gosh, what are you talking about? What, this has been great. He goes, well, for you, yes, but for me, no. You don't listen to what I have to say. You just keep saying you want to save money. You don't want to scale your business. So I'm like, no, give me 30 more days. So I hire a girl the following week. This is 8 years ago. That girl's been with me for 8 years. She immediately hiring that girl, we tripled our business like within 30 days because I could actually answer more phone calls. I could schedule more appointments. She cleaned, like, it was amazing the little things she did for me. And I was worried about $3,000 because I'm like this shrewd guy. I drive a Prius and make millions of dollars. It doesn't, for most people, that doesn't make any sense. So I was just trying to save money, right? But then you can quickly trip over your budgetary things in your brain and it can really screw you up. So here's my point. 2 months after that, he comes to me. I'm 10 minutes late to the appointment. Okay. $500 every time I meet with him and I'm 10 minutes late. I go, man, I'm so sorry I was late. I got caught up at a job site. He goes, you just wasted $100 being late. What was so important to you that you were 10 minutes late to this appointment? Like, I'm trying to turn you into a professional and here you are showing up late and you look unkempt. Like you don't look like a business owner. What's going on? I go, oh man, I had to, there's this thing. I had to install a toilet, blah, 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 blah. One of my guys didn't show up. And he says, okay, I got to change the way you think about your business. Just because you know how to install a toilet doesn't mean you should. And I'm like, wow, okay, well, what do I do? And we went through it. He's like, stop trying to learn every part of your business. Just hire professionals to do the job and stop trying to find some guy off the side of the street to do the job for $7. Do you think that Elon Musk and all these people that are building these big, massive businesses and automating and building the life of their dreams are sitting there wondering, how do I save every single penny? No, they go for quality first. So that's why I like TANGIE. I love their product. I love how inexpensive it actually is. But more important, the value that they drive is incredibly undeniable. So if you reach out to Matt at VA Hub, he will give you a script. He will give you cold calling scripts, texting scripts. Go ahead and go use those. That's perfectly fine. I'm happy to give you that value. But if you sign up at vahub.com, do not waste your time going over scripts. It's a waste of your time because you're making a commitment that you're trying to build a real successful business if you're going to hire a VA from VA Hub, because they're the ones that are meant to be the professionals. They're the ones that are the texters and the cold callers. Okay. Stephen Crawford, actually, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you. I'm going to write an answer so everybody sees this. Stephen Crawford says, I have a VA from VA Hub, and it is night and day compared to me doing it myself. Okay. So guys, hire the professionals. Matt Beard at azexceptionalhomes.com will give you any script you want for cold calling, texting, and even door knocking. VA Hub is where you can hire a virtual assistant, and Bomb CRM is the CRM that we use. And it's very, very simple.
We have just about a few more minutes. Just so you know, guys, we are going to be wrapping this up. So we may not be able to get to every question, but we're going to have, hopefully we're going to have Pace back.
Maybe next time I can talk about creative finance. What do you guys think? Do you guys want me to talk about creative finance or what? The thing is this, I don't market for creative finance. We do a lot of creative finance stuff, and we've got 3 minutes, so I'm going to be really quick. We market for distressed property owners. That's it. So a lot of people go, Pace, how are you finding so many creative finance deals? I don't do anything different than anybody else. I do marketing to the sellers, right? Inheritance, probates, foreclosures, whatever it is. And based on that individual situation, I apply either wholesale, which is a cash offer, or I apply terms, which is creative finance. So my conversion rate is double what everybody else is because I have double the information at my disposal, double the tools, right? It'd be like me showing up to a job site with a hammer and a screwdriver and you showing up to the job site with only a hammer. I can do twice as much as you can. So with creative finance, I'd be happy to give you guys all that stuff. And so Galaxy S8 says, I'm not able to see your info on Matt. I will give you that one more time, guys. Matt Beard at azexceptionalhomes.com. It's on the screen.
Somebody type that in too. Matt Beard, because I don't see it. When you say it's on the screen, Pace, I'm going to stop my share and I want you to share it again. There.
Well, look at my screen. Look at my camera.
Okay, I see it. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you can do, guys, so it's on the little screen right here. Matt Beard at azexceptionalhomes.com, VA Hub, and Bomb CRM. Those are the 3 answers that people ask for. Okay, so if you guys want me to come back, tell TANGIE, come back and let's talk all sub 2. Let's talk all seller finance. Let's talk notes. Let's talk novation agreements. Let's talk about whatever you guys want. Hell, I'll even call sellers for you live. I'll do whatever you guys want in terms of value that you're looking for.
That'd be awesome, Pacey. You can go ahead and answer another question if you want, because I still got to type thanks on these emails. So
of course, yeah. Robin Perez says, does anyone know how to check if a property sold at auction? I'm in Hillsborough, Orange, and Miami-Dade counties. So Robin Perez, I'm going to give you one of my favorite people in that area. She actually runs my media team, and she's also an investor as well. Her name is Kelly Hanno. Okay, I'm going to give you her actual cell phone number. I want you to text her and say, hey, I heard about you from Pace and I got your cell phone number. Here is her name and her phone number, Kelly Hanno. She's unbelievable. She will help you out. Okay. So Galaxy S8, I'm really sorry, but you keep saying that you can't see the info on Matt. So I'm going to type it in for your deal, Matt Beard at azexceptionalhomes.com. That is Matt's information. It's been sent directly to you. So now you don't need to see it on the screen. You're all good. This has been Has this been good for everybody? Did you guys get good value out of this? Has this been helped? Oh, I see. A lot of people are like, this has been killer. This is awesome. Love it, love it, love it. Great Facebook group. So again, final thing I'm going to say to you guys, if you need free help with any part of your business, okay, buy the probate list, have something to call, have something to text, have something to direct mail, and then go leverage other people. So find my students that are good at calling sellers, find my students that are good at knocking doors, find my students that are good at negotiating, find my students that are good at, all the creative finance, wholesale, all of those things, and even finding buyers, and go leverage their resources. Okay. So the way to do that is go to Creative Finance with Pace Morby Facebook page. Just go to Facebook and type in group for the groups, go Creative Finance with Pace Morby, and you'll find the group.
Pace, thank you so much for doing this. This was so different than anything that we ever do. And we usually don't have speakers on more than, once or twice a year. But I think that, you've done so good. And then you even offered to call sellers and talk about creative financing more on the next webinar. So I think I'll talk with the powers that be and see if we can get you on sooner rather than later. So we really love the content you had to provide. We're getting huge feedback. We've had great show ratios. And thank you so much for taking the time out of your precious time. I know how busy you are, and I've been trying for a really long time to get you. So I really appreciate you being on here tonight. And we look forward to hopefully having you on.
Thank you for including me. This is all I want to do in my life, is provide value to everybody. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
See, guys, and Pace didn't ask for anything. He's not selling anything. Follow him on Facebook, Instagram, all of YouTube. Find him, reach out to him. He's awesome, and he's not lying. He will literally train for 25 hours at a time. That's during the week and stuff. He trains for phenomenal. He'll sit there on the line with his students and do 6-hour calls and just Q&A. It's insane what he does. So we thank you. We did
one last thing that we did for fun. We're doing it every month. It's completely free. We call it the Cucumber Challenge, where my entire sales team, so 8 guys, get on the phone and we live stream calling sellers 8 hours each, all simultaneously. So you can jump between the stages. It's on this thing called Air Meet. So you can like bounce between which one of my acquisition guys are on the phone.
I just read about that on your group the other day.
Oh my gosh, it's so fun. So we have this challenge. We give out like $5,000-$6,000 in extra little bonus spiffs. So this coming one is next Friday. The person with the best costume out of my sales guys who are live streaming gets $250, a whole bunch of other like really, really cool things. But we have this challenge where we tell our sales guys, you have to say the word cucumber to a seller in a normal conversation 4 times. And so my guys on my team use the best analogies. They're like, okay, well, it's just amazing how inventive my guys get. And it's a good, fun way to look at this business.
But you can't I read the rules. You can't just throw the word cucumber out there, Paige.
Exactly. You have to use it naturally, which is so freaking fun. And I challenge everybody, next time I see you guys, we're going to have some fun. We're going to call some sellers and we'll show you how fun this business really is.
Sounds great, Pace. I'll get you scheduled for the next one real soon.